All right, welcome to my Wednesday stream. I'm going to get back on phpstan-drupal. I know last week I worked on upgrade status to try to figure out a few bugs, but this week I'm going to be back on phpstan-drupal trying to work through some bug reports. Well, actually one bug report, and then hopefully some good feature development. So we found this cool, Brombod found this cool, interesting bug. We'll go review the file changes real quick. Let's just go straight to the test. If you type hint the node storage, it breaks the test. So when we fetch it when node storage is gotten from the entity query, it's all fine. But if you override it with an inline type hint, it breaks everything. So we're going to dive into that today. And so yeah, that's where, let's see, is it going to report the test failure in here for me? No, it did not. But if we go look, oh, all checks have passed. Wait, hold on. Sorry, let's go look at this first commit. There's a few commits in here. So let's go. So we can see here with this failure. Let's get through to where it failed. Expected array int on line 77. So if we go look at this commit, so if we look at this commit, line 77, we can see that was added right here with this type hint, and that kind of broke things up. But they then pushed a few follow-up commits. Other tests should fail too. Okay, so this expands the test coverage and try a workaround to infer the type of the entity storage when it has been type hinted. Can't figure out why we have this behavior. All right, so let's look at the code changes. Workaround, because we cannot figure out why the color type is not entity storage when it has been type hinted. Instead, we try to infer the type here. You should definitely look at other cases that get query. Yeah, so this seems like a bigger bug at hand. So this get return type for get query method reflection, entity type. This get, and then that abstracts it here. Oh boy. All right. And then entity storage helper. All right, let's go pull this out. Actually, one thing I was checking at too is I never used the built-in pull request item in PHPStorm. I was curious to see happens. All right. Oh, so this is neat. I know in VS Code we have you have this, but I haven't really tried it out inside of PHPStorm. So let's see. So this is a new file that gets type from storage type, public static function, object type. All right. So let's see. I think I can click a button. So review, info, checkout. Oh, neat. So hopefully that checking this out lets me, let's do get branch. There's a lot of branches. I want to make sure it actually set up the remote correctly, because I haven't done this before or used the checkout button. Oh yeah, cool. That saves me a little bit of time from having to go through the command line to find everything. All right, so pull request, files. Let's execute, test, it's passing, dynamic return type extension. Let's mark as not viewed. Show diff in new tab, show diff. I was hoping they would have a way of wait, submit review. Oh, you can actually do a review in here. Start review with comment, add single comment. Interesting. But the main thing I want, jump to source. There we go. I was hoping in here I could like right click and jump to the source, but let's go straight to it this way. So if caller is not type instance of what was added in here. So this is what was added in this get query. So let's drop a breakpoint here. And what test were we working with? The entity query execute. Let's just copy that file name. Test. And we're going to go find the test and start debugging it. So type entity query. Yep. All right. This is the test. So let's go ahead and just run this. Oh, everything's going to pass. Hold on. Let's go and let's see. I'm going to comment out everything that's not involving this item here. So that way it's easier to test. Although I guess it would make more sense to just create a different. Let's do this. I'm going to create a new file. Entity query. Let's do this bug. There's no issue for it, but we'll just call it 355 because if you type in an issue 355, it shows up anyways. So bug355.php. This is also one thing that phpstan does. Is it has all the data types and then you create test files for each case. So let's copy these in. Let's go find the new test. All right, so if we have that there, we can bring this back. Bring this back. Let's kill that code. Another type node storage. Is that something that was added in this pull request? Yeah, so node storage. It was line. Let's. Was it as lines 54 through 122? 54 through 122. Another typed. Node storage equals. We already have node storage. Oh, wait. Query. Don't we already have? No, we don't. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to start at 75. Or no, let's just move the entire thing. 54 through 122. Let's just take that. So 54 through 122. Cut into here. Import to node storage. And let's go to this test. And we're going to just add another test case. There. So the idea here is that it makes it a little bit easier to test because we should be able to, when I run this, it should be more easy to rerun just that test file, I think. Yep. So here we go. We can see the specific lines and these specific type assertions. Perfect. So the one that we need to really look at is on line 33 with this assert type. So let's go ahead and do a debug on that line. And we should get caught here. Maybe. Okay. So caller type is object type. Class name. So if the caller type is not of entity storage type, and the reason it should be entity storage type is we have the entity type manager get storage definition. So what this does is it returns the correct entity storage type. But when it's has an inline variable or the inline type, it seems to forget. So let's see. So caller type, get query, method reflection, get storage type from the caller type. But why can't we use the same logic from here? Because we don't know the value of get storage. Okay, so one thing that our other code does is it reads get storage and then this value and returns the appropriate type. So what I want to do is let's step in to get query. It should be more of what it should be doing is fixing the caller type to the appropriate one. Class name, node storage, super types. That's not quite it. Methods, no. Ancestors, that's not going to be it. Cached interfaces, current ancestors, class name. Oh. Excuse me. Cached parent. That's the parent. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Node storage. Yeah, we can't. There's no way to find a way to get back to the kind of class it is because this has a specific storage class, so we can tie it to nodes. But the problem is that what if it's not a entity with its own unique storage? So let's step in to, so if it's an instance of config entity storage, else it's SQL content entity storage, which entity storage helper, the storage type. What do we have in here? We default it to be based, yeah. Now we're duplicating this kind of code though. That's the hard part. Storage class name, storage type. Yeah, this sucks. Let's stop. All right, let's debug. So get class, entity storage interface, get query. It could be any of these, actually. It could be anything. I bet. Beyond just get query. So maybe that's what I should prove first. So if we just comment that out and go back to the original, which the original was just return parameters select single. So let's go run that test. I'm going to run this, run the test, and copy over some more samples. Or I guess it's not just get query, it's also line 41. $33. That's interesting that 42 passed. Oh, because it's a count, and that doesn't matter what you're getting. Count is always going to be an integer. 56. Another type storage. If instance of. All right, so there it broke again. Oh, shoot. That's a lot of a bug. So we'll tackle it here, but I have a good feeling it messes with all the entity storage methods. So anything in here is going to be broken too, which means that we need another test probably just for this bug. But let's just solve it here now. Dang. All right. Where did I comment out? So if it's not an instance of object type, what does this do here? It's the default return type. We get this, which in the entity, where do we have it? Entity query, entity storage, Drupal entity data, config storage type, returns, entity type ID, class name, subtracted type. Oh, thank you. I will be in Portland for DrupalCon. I have meant to buy my flights for the past 2 weeks now, and I haven't. So that's what I'm doing tonight, is purchasing my flight. I'm going. I either want to fly out Saturday or Sunday. I'm definitely leaving Wednesday night because Thursday is my oldest son's birthday. So I want to get home in time for that. So I won't be staying the entire week, which is why I want to leave on Saturday so I get all day Sunday. But I will be in Portland. I'm excited because I haven't I guess DrupalCon Seattle was the last in-person DrupalCon. So I'm excited for that. I don't even know how to begin tackling this. All right. Type. This is possibly nullable. Been aching to nerd out with other Drupalers. Yeah, it's been a long time. Actually, that was the most exciting part. I went to Florida Drupal Camp last month. It was like 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks ago, and it was just cool being back around like people at a conference and feeling excited again about code, or not code, right? It's just being like working with code is fun. It can be fun, it can be rewarding, but honestly, the biggest part for it for me is going to the conferences and being around people that are doing exciting things, and basically everybody's pumping each other up with all the cool things we're working on. So I'll be excited for DrupalCon Portland. Yeah, I think we especially need the post-con optimism since we're going through like the 9 to 10 upgrade, right? Like the end of life of Drupal 8 and switching to Drupal 9 happened during the pandemic. So there was no like, hey everybody, let's actually work with this together. Like my favorite memories is like mid-camp when Drupal 8 was getting ready to ship. Like we had everybody working on Twig like came to Chicago. Like there's all these people from all around the world like were showing up at conferences to get stuff done. So it'd be really cool to get that vibe back at DrupalCon. All right, so this is what was created, and so one thing I'm trying to do too is I know I've viewed it, but I want to try to tackle it. Like we have a fix here, And we have this work below. Okay, so all this, I'm going to just do I'm basically reverting the code a little bit to start from a blank point and okay, so the idea is to start at a blank point so I can like replicate the train of thought with the fix where we have if caller type is instance of return select single, and there was a helper above and there was this one too. Let's wait. One thing had a static and then one had, oh, I see. That's what we have the static here. Get from caller type and then get from, just did a lot of the same things. Oh no, this has no name support. Yeah. Still got a D8 site as a group menu, and we're working on a D9 platform for 200 sites. Small team blues. Yeah. I can only imagine that. And like the good part is that like Drupal 8 is end of life, but it's also because of Symfony that I think will be okay. You know, like anything that's like, well, hopefully, like it's so good to get off, but like it's impossible with some blockers. So hopefully, if you're at DrupalCon Portland, you can connect with a few folks on it. I know, unfortunately, the group maintainer lives in Germany, Netherlands. I might be wrong. He works for Factorial, and his name's escaping me. So like that's the one bummer is international travel is probably going to be very light. So I don't know if a lot of our European counterparts will be at DrupalCon. So that can kind of hamper a few things, but it's still at least a way to like connect and be like, hey, who else has this problem? And who's working on it. All right. So I put these changes back so I can just run the test and get the failures back and replicate. All right. So this failed. Expected array of integers. It could be an array of int. We lost everything. All right. So this function I can actually put down here. I can kill it off because it is just a copy. Let's get query, but let's put it back. Return type, get class name. Yeah, let's put it back and object type. Can return type here be null? It can't be null. So let's refactor this a little bit because it is the same. So we have a type. Let's call this, let's just refactor this to be type. Get return type for get query method. It's not instance of object type for the return type. Caller type. So this is null. This remains. Let's get to caller type, return this, get return type, method reflection, and caller type. All right. That's something we can do. And the problem is that we actually need to fix. I think the problem that we have to do is we actually have to fix the caller type up here and somehow restore the entity type. Like that's not going to be hard at all. Get class name, subtracted type, class reflection. So actually I'm going to undo this here, because if we fix the caller type, or no, we're not. We're not going to reuse this. I don't think we're going to actually reuse this. This get return type for get query method. Okay, so essentially this hijack. Okay, what we need to do is we need to replace caller method or caller type. Like if it's not an instance of. So I guess first we need to do, we can copy this logic here. If the caller is not an instance of this object type, return the defaults. And here to do fix caller type. And we'll kill off this method for now. And then let's see, what do we got for scope? What method is the scope is supposed to be, could be, okay, it is class member accessor, which is a mutating scope. So let's, all right. I'm hoping in phpstan there's some way to get the original return type beyond what is in the what has been type hinted. And actually, hold on. Yeah. Oh, I got an idea. I have an idea, which is exactly what this is doing here. Yeah. So if like storage type, if it's super of config entity, so yeah, we do need this entity storage helper, which converts an object type to entity storage. So why don't we look here, entity storage type, entity storage helper. Load multiple, load changed. Yeah, none of these can be chained, so I think we'll be okay. Let's just debug it. And see what's next. What's cool is that means the fact this was found, it means people are using phpstan for actual analysis and more in depth. All right, so method reflection we know is the, give me a name. Okay, get query, which is defined at entity storage base, but the declaring class, no. Okay, method call. So caller type is an object type of node storage. And that's where in here, we check if it's if config entity storage is a super of or content entity storage. So if it's not an entity storage type, so let's go ahead and walk through these suggested fixes. So we'll say if new object type config entity storage, right, interface class is super of caller type. That's what we would do. We're going to replace caller type equals new config entity storage type, an empty entity class ID, and that is the problem. Class name would then be caller type, or would be storage class name. No, would be caller type get class name. do an else if, and we're going to copy the same logic to say if it's an instance of, what do we do here? Content entity storage type. No, that's where we do it in here. So what do we check? Get storage type if it's content. Oh, this is where we check content entity interface, content storage interface instance. There we go. So yes, it's right in here. That one. Look, we're basically going to be replicating parts of this in the entity data, and I want to eventually find a way to not have to do that. So content entity storage type. Let me do else. All right, so if we can't fix it, that's when we need to just return the default, which needs our next to do fix past data to storage types, to do to leverage the entity data get storage type. Hello, thanks for joining in. All right, so we're trying to fix a bug where we have all this return typing set up from get storage. It's like this passes. Like if you do get storage node, do an execute of the query, it returns an array keyed by integer and the ID is a string. Great. But then it breaks down when you do this inline typing, where it kind of loses track of what's actually happening. And what I want to find out is if we can get to the original type and kind of merge the two. So that's where I'm going to do a break here, another xdebug session. Can I ask what resolution you have for this screen? That's a good question. It is. So I have two LGAs, and I need to mess with my resolution to make the share a little bit bigger for text. I went to Costco. They had a deal on the Ultra Gear by LG displays. So I have two 32-inch. It's 2500 by 1400, and I have one in portrait mode in front of me, and then I have my second one in landscape mode in front of me, and then I have my other one in portrait mode to my right. So I actually have it set up on my right. That's where I have OBS and like the Twitch dashboard, and that's usually where I keep my chat and all that. Or a 32-inch monitor. They were bigger than I expected. Like I was like, yeah, it can't be that bad. Then I put them next to each other, and it was absurd. But it's actually nice having one in a portrait mode for when I have my CI jobs running, because I just go, I've got 30 inches of real estate to just watch some text scrolling by. It takes up a lot of space. It's definitely overkill, I would say that much, but oh well, I got it, and I needed to like spend some money on my business account for tax reasons, so that's what I went for. Wait a second, what line am I stopped on? Entity storage type. Well, shoot, 1 second. Okay, there we go. So we're on line 75. And we have our color type. Again, we know that it's confused as to what it is. We're not confused. It's reading the inline type correctly. But what I want to do is see if we can get to the original type. So if we can ignore this line but read what we previously said should be returned from get storage. So we have the cache parent, which is the parent class, its ancestors, super types, and methods. That it's not going to be in this caller type. Properties, ancestors, no, or maybe wait, hold on. Let's do some. So caller type. Let's do the good old test1 equals so caller type. Get ancestor with class name. No, that's not going to do it. Get class name constant reference classes. Sure, why not that? Test2. Get method, get ancestor with class name, get property, get. All right, I don't think we're going to find anything in there. Let's see. Object type. Ancestors. Get ancestor with class name. No. Get parent. But we saw that already, that the parent is get parent. Cache parent is going to be SQL content entity storage, which is not. Oh, wait a second. No, it's just an object type still. And this get class reflection, and then it just goes through. Okay, so it doesn't look at any previous data there, is the main thing. So it's not going to be inside the type. Method call scope. Resolve types. Typed node storage. So that's what was passed in and is being analyzed. Namespace, the scope factory, parser context, scope context. So variable types. So this is where, okay, wait, node storage. Okay, node storage. So see, this is one thing I don't know if we're gonna be able to fix it. So it's just so node storage is typed correctly to be content entity storage type, which this type says that it's for node storage and node. But when we get here, it's just object type and does not have that wrapped because it gets overridden by reading the doc block. Variable types, new expression types, dynamic constant names, no. Shoot. Parser, proper type specifier. Caller type, we did the caller type method. Let's look at method call. Variable, type node, yeah, and that's parent. Get query. Name there. I wonder if there's anything in. So parent name, get query, attributes, parents, method call. Now we're going into a little bit of a loop. So it's in the var. Attributes parent. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Oh. All right. That's not going to help us out. So what I need to do is vendor phpstan. We're going to look at phpstan and see where it does this reflection to see if there's any way we can like undo it. So PHP doc. PHP doc node resolver at var tag resolved. I guess let's put one there. And let's just do a debug. Let's try. Tag resolved, tag name, tag value. Tags resolved to 0. Oh, well, I guess we need to just put it in here. And if this doesn't catch, okay, it did. So tag name, the tag value, type variable name is type name storage, type identifier node type. Here we go. All right, so we have this here. Like we know now we're okay. So the name scope, the type. So this type, node type resolver, value tag. This get extensions. All right, we're getting somewhere, maybe. So type node. So that's a type. The name scope uses template type, empty types. That's not. All right, well, we got the type. This should skip type. So that only runs on Psalm. So, all right, tag value, variable name, resolved. So count resolved by tag is greater than that resolves. So what's next? Where does this get used? Get var tags from resolved PHP block. This var tags we know has that type wrapped in it. So what's next? Node scope resolver. If name, continue. That didn't help me figure out anything about what just happened. Stop. All right, resolve PHP doc. Let's just go there. We don't need to go through the resolver here. Actually, we do. Let's dive in. So tag value type. So when you do the @var, it loses all context. It doesn't support any of the context. Let's skip that. All right, so if we resolve, so this resolver, so for each, oh, that didn't return anything. Provider, get registry, extensions, type node resolver extension registry. Resolve, nothing implements this. All right, so that might be, I'm going to make a note here. Digging in and found this extension allows enriching PHP doc var tags. However, I don't think it has enough context for enrichment. I think we do. So you're given the type node and the namespace. That's not much to go on. So what's in here? So name scope just says the namespace, what it uses, the class name. This has absolutely nothing in it at all. The type node, name, like no extra context, like nothing about what is going on above or below. Like if it had the scope, that'd be great. But it doesn't. So if it's an identifier node type, this resolve at identifier node type. Type alias. String name. Return new object type string name. Oh, there's So all right, let's try. It's not going to fix it completely, but let's do this. All right, we need to register this extension. So let's go ahead and oh shoot, who would do this? Who would have this? phpstan Symfony. Let's go to the phpstan docs. Let's see. Some like phpstan itself doesn't have this implemented, but somebody's gotta. Symfony, PHP unit. That? Nope. Let's go GitHub, Larastan. Oh shoot, but nothing's using the, dang it. Nothing's gonna be using that constant because it's in PHP. So let's go back to, how do we tag these things? How are extensions tagged? phpstan.broker. Okay, so let's go node type resolver extension. All right, perfect. We've got examples. So types. Let's go into types. Type. Model node type. Ensures a model property type in PHP doc is recognized. Oh. So where else is this used? Because that's different. View string. So that's a problem. This is supposed to be used as a way of creating your own like PHP doc types. So you see there, view string. This looks like it's model types. Okay, this doesn't, this matches. So let's go through here. Some type, Jeez. I don't even know. Entity query, dynamic return type. This is that's not entity query. It's entity storage. So it's really entity storage node type resolver extension. Let's do that, I guess. Entity storage node type resolver extension.php. Don't know how I feel about that name, but right now I don't know what else to do. So final class entity storage implements type node resolver extension. Add the method stubs. Type name. Let's use. Why didn't it import? All right, so resolve. And get back to type. Should simplify this. So if node type is not instance of union node type and counts as not equal to 2, so this resolves when there's 2 types available, and what we need is identifier type node. So if type node instance of, so it's not an instance of the identifier type node, return null. I wish I did not close out everything in phpstorm. Dark resolver, here we go. Excuse me. Resolve, here we go. Yep, so we want to check if it's an identifier type node. And if it is, let's close out. So if it is that type node, subclass of, resolve string name, subclass of, would it be bad to do object types in here? Resolve identifier, object type, associative array mixed. So if name scope get class name is not equal to null, let's try that, because it could be an anonymous class. That's one thing to remember too. So if not instance of and the scope name is equal to null, we bail out. No name, it's not self static, should bypass aliases, string name. So let's just go here. We have so the object type and let's go back into here. Let's copy these out. I guess that's what we could return here. So if this instance of, so we're gonna delete. No, I'm not gonna delete it yet. But entity data, we've basically got to get copy this over. You can storage type class name, which here these 3 need to replace with object type, get class name. and there's no way to know the entity type ID, which I think is okay. So, all right, so here's what we do. We get the string name, we create the object type. If this is not a super of entity storage, the base interface, we return null. If it's config, if the object type, if the object inherits config entity interface, we return config content, config entity storage. If it implements content entity, we return that. There you go. All right, I think that will solve our problem by fixing the var.doc, and this is just adding noise for me right now. So I'm going to delete that and get us back to parity with the code as it was before the pull request. So let's go register this extension, copy it, and just go ahead and phpstan, phpdoc probably puts us around here then. Implements, let's get the tag. It does not get us there with the alphabetical. Let's go move this to broker. All right. So we've got the extension in place. Put a breakpoint in our extension there and in the PHP no doc resolver. Let's do the resolve. I'll put a breakpoint right there. And let's debug that test again. So now it should register our extension and we'll be able to provide some fixes. So first check this extension registry provider. No, wait. Yeah, our registry is null. Registry, extensions 1. Hey, we got our extension. Let's step in. Here we go. So string name. Testing mixed. That is not going to work. So before that bug even hits, hold on. So if does this handle mixed, new mixed type, blah. Shoot, I don't want to handle that. I want it to just be all right, let's see. Let's just let's do some debugging in here because I don't know what some of this is. So test equals that name scope. What do we got going on here? Get class name, get namespace, get uses. Resolve the name. Let's debug it and see what happens. So I don't need the breakpoint there. No, this is working. So test is null. Didn't I have it said? So if it's not type node, name scope, get class. So if it's not an instance of, or, dang it, or. There we go. Entity type manager, object type. Oh, that's not what I want to see. What? Entity type manager is not in string name, object type. So object type Entity type manager. Super types. Why is it saying it's a if super type of object type? No. Yeah, like entity type manager is not in. Let's do debug. Trinary logic 0, which 0 is a maybe. Why are we getting a maybe? Let's debug it. A storage type. Why would we get a maybe? Because there's no scope available? No, I don't know. All right. So there we go. Wait, hold on. Yep, that's our. So if we want to see if this is a super of object type, any type manager interface, which they're not. This description, entity storage interface is set, type component type, object with class name, type with class name, subtracted type. This class name, entity storage. That class name, entity type manager. You're not the same. This class, that. So that is subclass of. This is. Oh, dang it. Wait. So if this is an interface, so if this class is an interface and that class is not final, which it can't be because it's interfaces, all right. Because something could implement the two interfaces. That makes sense. Technically, the class could. So let's do a hard yes. So if maybe what we need to do is flip this logic around. So if it extends config entity, content, yes. Otherwise, return no. So before we had it to be more direct. So, well, I guess so. The way we're doing it here is we might get a bunch of maybes. So the idea is that we first check to see if it is a concrete extension of config entity storage interface. If it is a concrete one of content entity storage interface, or is a random extension of entity storage interface. We'll see if that makes a difference. I feel like we're still going to find bugs. Okay, so entity type manager, return null. Great. Name string. Like what? Why is this passing through? Type node. Identifier type node string. Names. Get class name. Oh, because we're in Get storage? What? Hold on. I want to look more at how they do. So model type is inner type. Name scope. That's string name. So string name, builder class. That's not. Is subclass of. I guess we'll have to do it that way. I guess it really does have. So if in is subclass of model. So yeah, we would have to do is subclass of. All right, I'm gonna just let this roll and see it before I get hung up on the specifics. I want to see if this even works. Any storage interface, return any storage type. Great. That's not what I was hoping for. Not at all. Right? So like object type node. This is, but where are we? Name scope, triple core entity, class name, get storage. From shoot. It's reading it from the PHP doc of entity type manager get storage. For the return tag, we don't want the return tag to be modified. Let's see. Figure out where this ended up. Return type. So here we go. We got return type content entity storage. So it's working-ish. Why did it crash? Let's try just running it without Xdebug. Well, that's not it. The PHP doc extension resolver may not be a great idea as it runs on return statements as well. Dang, like why? Usages. Where does this node type resolver get called? Inside PHP doc, resolve array shape, resolve multiple, PHP doc node resolver, resolve var tags. Okay, that's where I've been. Type node resolver. Those classes, source type, type alias, resolve. Breakpoint here if count resolved is equal to 1. Let's have this return null all the time to fix whatever we broke. Or rather, instead of that, let's comment out the service registration. Let's debug. I think this is going to be impossible to fix. All right, so resolved. Again, we only have this value here. We have no context at all about what's happening. We just have the PHP doc node. There's the children, tag doc, and the name scope. Just gives us nothing. Step down. Let's get var tags. Node scope resolver. Name is equal to assigned value. Assigned value, assignable value. So it didn't do anything. The assignable value. So scope. Let's look at the scope. Resolve types. Scope assigned value. So that didn't run because it's the same. But that means somewhere in here, it has to have scope assign variable. How does it assign? This is scope factory create. Oh, I don't even know there then. Let's get namespace. What does that do? Excuse me. So it creates a new scope. That's what happens. So I see. So if it has to, it recreates a new scope. So if variable list tags is equal to 1, default expression is not equal to null. All right, so that is used to rebuild the scope. Functions null. But it caused the PHP doc to be resolved. So what's next? So scope equals that. This is where I ended up before. Okay, so scope equals statement var annotation. And that's where we just were. All right, so this generated our scope. Resolve type, scope factory. We don't need that. The reflection provider, operator type, dynamic return type extensions, node scope resolver, and then our context, PHP version. So it hasn't yet determined our variable type for what's running. So let's go see what's next. So node callback. So process the statement node. What is our statement here? The statement is expression, and the expression is variable. This is what we call get storage. So let's step into the node callback, which is up here. Okay. Overriding throw points. I have no idea what that is actually. So the statement is of declare. It's not. Is an expression. Early terminating expression is null. The result is to. And then this is where it updates the scope. All right, so let's process this expression node. Top level. All right. We're digging in. Assign. So the expression is to assign values by this method call. This node callback with expression. What does this do? All right. So now the node is assign. If expression is variable, okay, assign. Great. This assign all right, process assign var, the context, the assigned expression. All right, static call. Wait, any type manager name, get storage. Oh wait, we're like back up a bit now. I don't want to back out. Name, get storage. Like shoot, we ended up a layer deeper than I thought we were going to be. Statement, expression, the expression, name, get storage. Var type node storage, get storage. Let's go up a scope, statement result, throw points. Statement, expression, the assign, name, get storage. I need to go back to the test data. So what are we looking at here? Get storage, variable, name is entity type manager, type node storage. Okay, so we're in where this gets set, I guess. So scope, yield. For each statement, as I is statement, the expression, function call, name, assert type, throwable T. Dang it. Let's read debug. I think I got lost in it. So it's inspecting this variable assignment, and while inspecting that variable assignment, it's processing the PHP doc, and I got confused. So return the resolved. So let's see. There's got to be an easier way to get back to this breakpoint. So statement, this. Expression var. Or hold on. So we know that it's when we get into this expression. So if we do statement, expression, that probably won't. We'll just put another breakpoint here. So result. All right. So go in. It's parsed our PHP doc so far. Like that's cached, but is not present here. Next, parent, previous. So the expression is phpstan cache printer. Okay, so this is what we're inspecting. Comments, it's got one comment. That can be parsed. That's what sets the type later on. So Now we're going to go process the expression node. Node callback with expression. Node callback. This cuts out. All right, so expression is instance of assign. It is, there we go. I'm going to put a breakpoint here. So use, and another breakpoint right here. So let's step in, process assign variable, the node callback, enter expression assign. Okay, expression key. This currently assigned expressions is 0. That and then it creates a new, oh shoot. It assigns a new currently assigned scope. And it's not a function call. Okay, so now we're in process assign variable. And if we look at variable name. Okay, so this is where the variable gets assigned and its type is inferred. So now I can do a breakpoint here. So I can say var name is equal to typed node storage. So now I can actually do a breakpoint here and track what I'm doing without getting absolutely confused again. I'll get it confused again, but is assign op is false. Var instance of variable and is string name. All right, let's put this breakpoint here. Right there. So let's go into the callback. All right, here we go. Now we're in this callback again. So if expression is assigned ref, it's not. Var is expression variable. Context. All right. So we're entering the right side assign scope get type. So expression var name type and expression method call. So get type on the node of the method call. Key. If not array key. Okay, this resolve types of get storage node is content entity type. So it's actually cached. So it was able to look up that signature and have it cached. So that's interesting to know. And it even says it here that it knows that it's already a content entities type storage. So resolve types, enter right assigned. Context, expression context is deep, assign right name, right side type. So, okay, so at this point, it knows that it knows what it is. But somehow it gets thrown off by the variable tag. If count vars, all right, this is it, I bet, when we get down there. But let's just look at process this extension node. Let's just go back, result, expression result. I don't know, it has yield, throw point scope. Oh, wait. No, now I'm all... Oh, wait, because that's the callable. Okay, so return the expression result. So scope. Let's look at scope. Variable types. Native expression types. Dynamic constant names. So the scope wasn't really updated from what I can tell. So we're going to step over. Has yield. So we still have to finish out this process assign variable. Type is content entity storage. So we're good still. truthy type. Okay. Result, get scope, assign variable, type. So this is where it assigns the type to that variable name. We get the expression result. Scope has yield, throw points, vars. Here's the assigned variables. And there we go. Oh, dang it. All right, I need to make notes of this here. Tract it down to expression node. Life is good, but this is confusing. Thanks for asking. I'm down a rabbit hole and a half. The assigned variables are correct. They're correct. But they get quote unquote broken in process var annotation. It's like, let's go ahead. So vars type storage, scope, variable types, type any storage, variable type holder, type. So I can take this screenshot, mark it up that we are change the no, dang it. I don't know. Just comment that. All right, so var change scope. I see. Okay, let's dive into this. So we have our scope with our variable types. And again, this is correct at this point. Scope name, variable names. Let's drop a breakpoint here. We're going to do count variable names is equal to 1 and variable names 0 is equal to typed node storage. Kind of like Rapunzel, not Rapunzel. What's the whatever the fairy tale is where the kids live in breadcrumbs? I like to leave breakpoints for myself throughout the way with conditional executions. They're like breadcrumbs to get back to whatever nested nightmare I'm in right now. All right, so function false. Process var annotation variable names, the scope, and the node. So get comments. Comment. Doc. Var is this. Resolve PHP doc. It's already been resolved earlier, and that's where it was hard to track this down. PHP doc node, children, doc tag node, var, value, type, and it gives us the type of node storage, and that is for each resolve var get docs, and this is what gets resolved. So the keys type node storage, and the var tag object type node storage. I don't know how we're gonna fix this because it was in node scope resolver. Where else was this called? Enter for each. Process statement node. Process statement node. Where did I say? Process expression node. That's it. So it was, the scope is correct here. And the var didn't change the scope. So var tags. Here, it updates it for each variable names, variable type. We get the type, and it's the generic object type of node storage. And this is where it updates the scope, and we have no way to fix or enhance that. There's the scope, return new expression result. Okay, so now I know how it works. Excuse me. So I know how that works, at least. We could do this extension, resolve name. What we need to say is, look back at the types. Model property. Extension, how did they get the name? Type node name. Test equals type node. So let's go register this back again and debug that test. I don't think there's going to be a way to like enhance this PHP doc. Right here, test is any type manager interface. Test is string. Like what is this? Function name, type string. That's not. Right, I'm going to stop there and let's do, let's say if type node name is not equal to var. That's not. So if type node instance of name is equal to model property. Model property type. Generic type node type name. Let's have this exit out here, and I'm going to do return null and try to blow through this so we can see what types there are. Test object, name scope, type node. This is not at all what I think would be coming through here. Test object. Holy cow. Class name weak map. Let's just see if anything causes us to catch. I'm gonna guess no. Let's kill these breakpoints that don't have anything. Here's a resolve. This already went through. node type resolver, tag value type. Tag value, type, name, variable type. So I guess that's the thing, is it doesn't even tell you what kind of tag you're dealing with. Let's go look at this again. Resolver. Identifier type. We got to mimic this thing. So if class name is not equal to null, that's not even necessarily a identifier. So string name. Identifier node type. Oh, that's right. I forgot there's all of this stuff up here. It's like string. If the class name is here, should bypass classes, and then otherwise it determines it node type. Identifier type node to string. Uses node attributes. This is hard. We don't really have like an enum or anything that has all these values in it. And this switches on the name, and we don't have the name. Node type name. This might not be working like I wanted to. View string. Generic if function type specified. Okay, resolver extension. So this only works on union. So if it's not a union type and it goes through. So I guess we just have to do resolve. We just have to do is subclass of, I guess. I was trying to avoid that, but if is subclass of, I'm going to do a type string name, entity, class. So if it's not, turn null. I'll drop a breakpoint here, and let's try it again. Again, I don't even know if this is the right way to take it. What we're trying to do is fix inline type hinting to work with our ways of detecting entity storage. So string name, node storage. Well, I guess that's it. I guess that's one way to do it. The problem is that it's impossible to know if something's a class. Like, I don't like doing this is subclass of inside of the phpstan calls because we have the type system, but I feel like there's no other way. Because at this point, we may as well just do is subclass of throughout. Right, because once it does phpstan really even use this? Like, just because phpstan doesn't mean it's wrong to or right to, but type specifying is subclass of function type specifying. Is function supported? What? All right. Well, the main thing is that I think we've got a winner here. I guess we could just avoid the object types here. We don't need the trinary logic. So let's just clean this up. So if is subclass of, just clean this up. So string name, subclass of config entity storage. I guess this will work all the same. Because we don't really need, I guess, yeah, we don't need the object types anywhere else. So let's go through here. Let's cut this out. Oop. Name. And we have the really short circuit. There we go. So this now looks more, this will look very similar to what we have in the entity data, where we say, no, if it's not an implementation of entity storage, bail, otherwise we return these items. Let's run the test and we'll see if it fails. That's not what you want to see. Why is this causing PHP unit to crash? That's the good question. Am I implementing this wrong? Generic object type. All right, so we return the type. Resolve variable. Resolved. Var tag type. Content entity storage. Yep, we've got that all here. And in the entity data, we're only returning those two items. So play and hope that it catches somewhere else. Yeah, so we're here. Play again. Function, process var annotation. We got the comments resolved. Var tags. So var tags, var tag, type no storage. That's the type, is content entity storage type. All right, so we got the scope, expression result, the new scope as yield, throw points, return a statement result, bubble up the scope, exit points throw. Can't do something like, I can, but it was returning, since there were, I had that earlier in the stream, but it was just returning maybes. So I could do that. The one thing is that we're not guaranteed to have class names passed in. This is a very, very, very dirty, bad hack. Yeah, it's not the greatest. Error called undefined function. Oh, what? Well, that's new. Entity storage dynamic return type extension, line 67. Caller type. Oh. Well, hold on here. Is this what it looked like before? Oh, if caller type is not instance of entity storage, that's what it's supposed to do. Whoopsies. Reload. Oh man, and that's why it was crashing before, so I could have been right, but I had that wrong. Dang it. All right. Caller type, node, display type. Caller type again is correct. All right. This is all right. Now we fit there. Our PHP doc resolver. Yeah, we're there. Resolved. Variable. Our type. Oh. Caller type, content entity storage, where the entity type is empty because we can't know what it provides. Type, wait. If type is null, return all right. Shoot. And that still didn't fix line 33. You gotta be kidding me. Line 33. That still didn't fix it. I wonder if it's because in the... So type was null, so we bail out. That's why, because we don't know the class type. But the thing is, we don't need to know the return type. Hold on. Get type from method call. This get class type. It's class name. Why does this matter? It should not. All right, we're going to refactor this a little bit. So at the end, it always returns the default. And let's rename this to be the entity class type. No, man. Entity class type. We don't care if it's null or not. Add null. Oh, we do care. And any class type is not equal to null. Well, that's just kind of annoying. Why is this not? All right. instead of trying to redo all that, let's keep that to be called entity class type. Let's have return type go up here. So if caller type is not instance of entity storage, let's update this to be return type. And let's move to the query. For get query, we don't care what the entity class type is, but we do down here. So in my opinion, we need to move these inside of here because these have a dependency on that variable. Maybe. So let's just run it. This is another one. Okay, now it's passing. All right, so if it's not, if the caller is not an entity storage, return the default. If we're calling get query, because get query is one of the things that returns a new object type, we return that. And then otherwise, we can only support load, load unchanged, load multiple, and load by properties if we know the entity class type. Or wait. Hold on. We can keep this clean too. One second. We can do. So if we're doing the load, so we actually, what we need this to do is to return like we need this get class type to not be null, but return like the generic class type. This class type, if null, well, I guess we can't even get the storage. So maybe we can't do that. Color type get entity ID. Yeah, we get null. So really what this would be is entity class type equals return type. No, it wouldn't be the return type. Hold on, let's go back, and I'm gonna keep that all wrapped right now because the idea is that otherwise we could just return like generic entity class type, or maybe that's what we'll do instead of returning class type null. Let's do that. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. So entity class type should not return null. It should return new object type, entity interface. So it should return the most basic of basic things, which the class type will never be null. Get storage type. If this storage class name is null, the storage class name. Otherwise, it should actually be entity storage interface is what it should be. This storage class name. Let's convert these to the class constants, a little bit cleaner to read. All right. Yeah, I think that works. So like if it's a config, that's a super type, we set the class name. Otherwise we fall back to entity storage. So this helps make it more generic too. So if we have a malformed entity type, it won't die out. So let's run this again. Dynamic energy storage. We don't have to worry about get class type being null anymore. Cool. Now what we should do is verify 355 is entity properties, entity type manager. Nope. Entity storage. Yeah, let's go. We got I'll close bug 355 on query. Let's say entity query. Entity query execute. We'll do that. And the dynamic test. All right, now what I need to do is the entity storage. Entity dynamic. Okay, so entity storage. There we go. We need to make a new file called bug 355 entity storage.php. We need to replicate a lot of the same bugs. Where's node storage even used? Oh yeah, the instance of. That's right. So entity storage. Let's copy here. So let's do node storage. So we'll say if node storage instance of node storage. Let's even do node storage interface. Load. Let's do load multiple. So node storage, let's do the term storage. And we'll do again the Drupal taxonomy term storage interface. Let's copy these over. And let's run that test. Where did I? There we go. This bug 355 entity storage. Let's run it. I'm going to try to review my diff. Oh, rerun. That happens every once in a while. All right, so this registers the extension. Let's go to the source. So entity data. Made it so that entity data always returns some kind of value. Entity storage, the dynamic. Return type. This cleans up a few items, or basically kind of rewrites what was provided. This entity storage helper, is this used? It's not used, so let's delete that. Did have failures though, so let's rerun the failures so I can look at them. All right, so entity data returns values, return type extension. Query. So we do the get query. This comes in here. Entity storage helper, and then we added this item. Now that think the tests are failing as I would expect. online entity store. Oh, no, is not. Wait, what? That's not what I would expect at all. Why is that broken now? Entity data, if the class name is null, return entity interface, otherwise this class name. If instance of. What? Entity dynamics. Let's go debug this. This is, I don't even understand how this broke those tests by fixing this one. The storage name, yeah, node, entity storage. Wait, it's not equal to null. The storage type. Content storage type. Turn to storage type, resolve types. Caller type is content entity storage. Oh, here we go. Wait, method call. Method reflection. Reflection. What's this name? What function am I in? Name. Create. Okay, we're in create. Entity class type, object type node. Oh, wait a second. That's where I broke something. That's why it returns the type. So let's go handle create explicitly. So if method reflection get name is equal to create, return entity class type. That's all. Before it just was like implied it would do that. Now I made changes to make it more explicit. So I caused the test to fail. All right, hopefully. Okay, that made that pass. Let's run this entire thing again. Where's the test at? One, let's run that test. The entity query dynamic. It's probably going to fail because every time that I change the test class I run, it fails. Oh, what's this? Line 56 of 55, entity query, line 56. And line 64. All right, so it's broken when doing instance of. Oh, this is I think I'm just handling this the wrong way. And we need to go back to caller type. So if instance of. I think I just got to go back to what was being proposed here. Or split this out into its own handler for get query. I'm gonna make that as a note. It's 4 o'clock. I need to bounce off. So I spent a bunch of. Oh, that's how you close Brave instead of. That's Command Q instead of Command W or whatever I was trying to press. Let's see. If we call it from, hold on, I need to think for a second. If we were to move it, caller type, we get no class. Let's get query. Or rather, this is getting, this breaks down here. Correct. If it doesn't, then I'm really confused. Yeah, the type, resolved. Yeah. Oh, shoot, we're right here. Caller type, object type, node storage. Man, but why did this now get... Why? Name get query. Because, so it doesn't work with instance of. That's the problem. Is it works with PHP doc, but does not work with instance of. So everything that has been worked on is broken based off assumptions. Like if we look at the scope, so types, node storage, caller type. Yeah, that's not great. So method call name, get query on var, another type node storage. If I copy that value, this is the one that's doing instance of. We've got instance of node storage. And absolutely no way to fix this. Like we'd have to find parent. Parent is method call. Variable parent. I don't want to give up yet. I want to try something else. So scope, get type, method call, attributes, parent. No, it's get attribute parent. Let's try that. Think that's a valid call. Find out, yep, get attribute parent. Skip over. I guess I don't need these anymore. I know how it all works. Test framework quit unexpectedly. Parent equals parent, debug it. Well, that stinks. I didn't think about the fact that all of our dynamic return types would break down if people used inline typing. Parent method call. Oh, really? We're just access check. Oh, all right. Var name. Another type storage. Access check. That means it's... Oh, yeah. Get query. Wait, no. What? Parent name. Access check. That's not a parent at all. That's the next one. Or no. Yeah, what? I want to see. I'm just curious. Parent. Oh, and then I create an infinite loop because I'm calling get type and it's on method call. Attributes. It's just not gonna work. Node variable. Yeah, because it keeps and get query. It keeps just looping around. Well, that went absolutely nowhere. I'm going to at least, I'm not going to delete anything, but I'm going to open an issue where, let's open a new issue. So data should return generic interfaces, not nulls. Should return and interface object type, not null. We can say type should default to not null. Just open this. Oh wait, I guess wait a second. If new object type storage type, so storage class name, yeah, we would never get null in this case. So at least there's a few fixes and changes in here I'd like to keep. Not that one necessarily. What I can do is at least comment this PHP doc. This and got nowhere closer. I made a PHP doc extension and that didn't help for instance of, but copying here. That's not it. Yes, it is. That's it. The problem is that this breaks all methods, all dynamic return type methods as we method extensions as we have them. Poop. So we've got a proposed fix. I went down a rabbit hole of fixes I'm not going to take. Probably will work more on this code. To work on this pull request as is and edit that comment. I was thinking of do this elsewhere already. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna fix it, but this pull request does fix it in ways. It's just again we don't have the entity class being passed in. which breaks create, load, and other items, but I don't think we have no way to find it. Oh well. Thanks for hanging out. This was a heck of a time and nothing got done. Yay. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back hopefully on Monday working on Simply Test Me. And then again, Wednesdays at 2 is when I work on PHPstan-Drupal. So thanks for hanging out.